one sign you're not getting enough protein from dietitians. Hi, beautiful friends. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. And on today's episode, we're going to go evidence-based, science-based with an NIH study and also from a bunch of dietitians who are going to tell us specifically our number one sign if we're not having enough protein on a high protein diet. I've lost over 112 pounds, completely changed my life from taking GLP-1 medication. I love to lift, I love to build muscle, and really body recomposition is my 2025 goal, and going into 2026 of really focusing in on a high protein diet, because I used to not have a high protein diet. And now having gone from not to having, I realized how much it helps with satiety, building muscle. It really makes a big, big difference for me, particularly when I'm lifting. And I want to encourage you too, from somebody who weighed over 300 pounds to now somebody who lifts weights and is healthy and muscular in a good way, like building muscular, and I'm not quite to like the muscular point I want to be, but in a really good way. I found this article, I'll link it down below, from prevention.com, referencing this study that was done from NIH, National Institutes of Health, about protein diet, and then how we know our number one way, besides like calculating our macros. I had a dietitian over at Join Fridays tell me my macros, so I knew exactly how much protein I should be consuming. But this NIH study, it actually came out in 2020, but there was several of them that they talked about. Long-term clinical trials, 6 to 12 months, reported that high protein diets, HPDs, provide weight loss effects and can prevent weight regain. So if you are like me and you're on a GLP-1 medication and you're like, okay, I've changed my life, I want to continue to change my life, but I also want to ensure that I'm not regaining weight, I'm building muscle, a high protein diet is the number one ways you can do that, focusing in on higher protein. And so learning about this high protein diet, about how it really, really helps with fat mass while decreasing fat mass and preserving fat-free mass in both low calorie and standard diets, about why high protein matters so much. And so dietitians, we hear a lot about from dietitians, like, how high protein diet? I was like, okay, well, how do I know if I'm hitting that target? Like, if I'm shooting with a bow and arrow, how am I hitting the right amount? Am I having too much, right? And by the way, none of this is medical advice. Always talk to your own healthcare provider, your own dietitian. I love Join Fridays. You can use the discount code QUEEN. That's who I get my Tirzepatide compound from, and then also the GLP-1 plus GIP, and then also my free dietitian is included within getting my medication. So going through, and there's signs that you're not having enough protein. And so the first one is that you're not getting enough protein that will blatantly give it away is you're feeling drained. You feel very drained, you're feeling hungry, and you're unsatisfied between meals or finding it difficult to recover after workouts or a bout of illness. That could be lacking the key nutrient of having protein. And so after we eat our meals, a couple of questions to ask ourselves on a high protein diet. Do I feel satisfied? I just had not a high protein lunch. To give some context, I just had a Caesar salad. I really wanted to focus in on a lot of vegetables. I was craving that, knowing though that I need to have more protein later on. And after this, I'm gonna have a protein shake and kind of space out my protein a little bit better. But to give some context, I wanted to have I had a Caesar salad, I had an apple, and right now I'm not crazy full. Like, it was a big bowl of salad and it was an apple. And I don't feel full. When I and I'm sharing that as an example, which is kind of like an easy example to use, but I'm sharing that as versus when I have a bowl of my Greek yogurt, for example. This was me tailgating at the JMU football game, a whole bowl of, honey, I'm going to town on that Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt, chia seeds, and a big portion of fruit. There's, I don't know, a cup and a half of fruit in there also. A few pecans are included in there. I was so full after this. That Greek yogurt, I use fat-free Fage Greek yogurt, not that much, but low in calories, very high in protein. I feel very full after it. I'm very, very full. Number two, do you feel satisfied? And for me, coming from a morbid obese background where I did weigh over 300 pounds, clearly an unhealthy perspective with food, I frequently did not feel satisfied. And in fact, when I was dieting, do y'all know what I'm talking about here? Like, I was put on my first diet when I was in elementary school. So when I was dieting, coming from that background of diets and like trying to break free from that, of I deserve to feel satisfied after I eat. I used to not feel that way. And if anybody can relate, like that's me. Like I used to be like, oh, this is just the way it is. This is just the way that skinny people feel, is hungry all the time. And while I'm in a calorie deficit, I do have pockets of hunger and I want to welcome the hunger in. It's not that I'm not welcoming the hunger in, but one of the biggest things with welcoming the hunger in is also having on there of where I feel satisfied and where I feel full with it as well. And so that's one of the biggest points. Let me go back over to where I was, is feeling full in between meals. I'm not like rooting around like, where's the food? Like right now I feel that. I'm like, I cannot wait after this to go have my protein shake. You know why? I'm going to feel really, really full afterwards in a beautiful, wonderful way of filling myself up with some lean protein. Also, here's the other big kicker. I feel confident in my ability after a workout. Have you guys had this of not even after a workout, and I'm going to add this into what the dietitian was talking about. The dietitian they referenced, so I can give her credit, is Lauren Harris Pincus. Again, I will cite my source down in the description link below. But for me, lifting now, I'm like, can I sustain to be able to lift for an hour? Like that's physically laborious, like pumping those weights. I need to be able to have carbs and protein in there to be able to physically sustain lifting. Am I too drained to even do that? Now, I want to interject a little bit, and then I'm going to go back to the study and talk a little bit more about what the dietitian said, is GLP-1 weight loss. There is like Zepbound fatigue, Mounjaro fatigue. Having fatigue associated with GLP-1 weight loss, totally a valid thing. Some of it is from not consuming a lot of calories. And so if you're not consuming a lot of calories and you're having protein where you're feeling fuller and potentially not consuming even more calories, definitely if that is your concern, because people have definitely brought it up in my free encouragement group at countessofshopping.com/group. I'll link that in the description, as is all of my links that I'll talk about today. I'm always like, kick it back to your healthcare provider and talk to them. They should be walking through with you if you are that full of where you're having day after day after day. It's one thing if it's like 24 to 48 hours after the injection, for me, from my personal experience, strength, and hope, because that's when I felt the shot. When I felt the shot and when I still feel the shot, 24 to 48 hours after the shot, feeling that level of fullness, versus then at the half-life dose, which is day 5, day 6, day 7. Day 5 is half-life dose. That is when I can kind of make up on the back end, eating a little bit more because of more of an appetite. So, but if you feel from day 1 to day 7 to the next shot, and you're going on a week, 2 weeks of like, I am barely consuming enough calories, that is immediate. Pause, do not pass go, collect your $200 of Monopoly money. Like, stop. That you need to talk to your healthcare. In my humble bestie opinion, non-medical advice, because I have no medical training. You see what I'm saying? Like, for me though, that would be red flag. Woo! That would be one of the times I would wave my red flag, is if you're not consuming enough, right? Can we all agree on that? Okay, so there's not a one size fits all into our protein intake. For me, with making sure, and I've tested this, typically at most meals where I feel best and where I can consume where I need to consume in a given day, typically it's like 30 grams of protein per meal. 35 grams of protein per meal. Now, some people, if I say it's 40 grams of protein per meal, they'll say, Elizabeth, and they'll pull down their glasses. Elizabeth, you're not going to absorb all of that. And I say, that's okay. My body's not absorbing it. I would rather, like, you want to be mindful, and again, talk to your healthcare provider about like kidney stones and stuff like that. But I've been on such the opposite end of the spectrum of not having enough protein that for me, I'm not worried about if I pee some of the protein out, or however it is you get rid of protein. I don't know if you pee it out or not, but you see what I'm saying? Like, for me, it's around, my goal is to have 30 to 35 to 40 grams of protein per meal. And if I'm doing that 3 times a day, plus then having like a protein shake added in there, I'm hitting my protein where I need to be shooting my target of where my dietitian wants me to be. So the point of reference, building a well-balanced meal, aim for a fourth of the plate to contain lean protein, said the dietitian, a fourth of whole grains, a half of fruit or vegetables. And so that's kind of what my plate looks like. Like, sometimes I have a little bit more than a fourth of my protein with, if I had a half being protein and whole grains, mine would be like 2/3 protein, 1/3 whole grains, and then the other half being fruits or vegetables. It's kind of my plate structure too when I'm looking at a pizza pie. See, you can take the gal out of the 300+ pound body, but sometimes things creep out like a whole pizza pie. As an example, just making sure you're watching, just making sure you're paying attention, bestie. So there's so many, this article goes into the world is your oyster. We live in the best time to be alive now. We have so many ways to consume protein that you like, that you find that are best for you, right? Like I love protein shakes. The Count loves protein shakes. The Duke loves protein shakes. We like protein shakes. You need to do what's best for you. Maybe you don't like protein shakes. Maybe you like to make protein bowls or protein puddings or protein proffies, like whatever works well for you. But focusing on protein at the beginning of the day, for me, going back to this article, the number one way that you know that you're not getting enough protein typically is you feel drained, you're not satisfied in between meals, you're hungry. If you're feeling that way, probably within that meal, you're not having enough, like I did right now. Having that Caesar salad and the apple, that was my meal because I wanted to have some more vegetables. I am hungry right now. Right, and you would be too probably if you had a salad and an apple. You know what I'm saying? But I actually was craving it. If that sounds really bizarre, anybody have that of like, I was legitimately craving that. I'm like, I really want this. I really want the Caesar salad. I really want the apple. But now I'm hungry, and that's one of the number one ways. Okay, so let's go back over. It's talking about how do we start off on the best foot to not have enough protein. It starts at breakfast. And for you, you can define that however you wish of when does that breakfast start, at 7 a.m., 10 a.m. For me, I find it best for me if I have something little, and my dietitian keeps hitting this home for me, and I very much appreciate her for it. She's like, Elizabeth, you need to have protein earlier than like 10 or 11 o'clock. You know what happens when I don't eat anything till 10 or 11 o'clock? I don't hit my protein goals. I am drained. I am tired. And you know what also happens then? I get moody. I've noticed this about myself. The article, the dietitians don't say this in the article. I notice though, I get cranky, like I get moody. And I'm like, gosh, that's like out of characteristic for me of, I'm generally not a moody person. I can be, clearly. But when I have breakfast, after I get my kid off at school, typically, so around like 9 a.m. And then after I can go from being like mom mode into working mode, there's this like pocket of window of where I have this transition. That is when I like to have, even if it's just a half a cup of Greek yogurt or more than that, of course, like y'all know you can see I can throw down with a good Greek yogurt bowl like the rest of them. But if you like cottage cheese or you want to have a high protein oatmeal, like I've really gotten into recently, overnight oats. I've really been loving that. My favorite flavors, they have a strawberries and cream one that's good, a French toast one that's good. It's really good. I'll link it down below on my Amazon shopping list down below. But if you're finding it difficult to hit the recommended 20 grams of protein per meal, reverse engineer and start back at your number one, at your breakfast. Number two for me, planning out the next day's meals before I go to look at bedtime. I'll figure it out for the next day, is very helpful on MyFitnessPal because then I don't have to think, gosh, what am I gonna eat? I can just execute. Okay, when I wake up, I'm gonna have a half a cup of Greek yogurt. I'm gonna have a full cup of fruit in there. I'm gonna have some chia seeds, or maybe that's too much. Maybe I'm gonna have when I'm eating it, if I find that I'm too full for that, for me, I'll eat it, but I'll eat half then at 9 o'clock-ish, 9:30, and then have the other half maybe an hour and a half later when I feel hungry again, right? I don't believe in force feeding myself on my GLP-1 weight loss journey. That's never been my bag. Some people say to do that. I've not. To me, it just doesn't make sense. have paid over $16,000 for my GLP-1 medication. Why would I want to force feed myself? I don't do that, but other people do, but that's not me. But so having in there specific like go-to proteins, like this is the protein I really enjoy, I really like. For me, my go-to protein frequently is a yogurt bowl. It's easy, it's quick, I can travel with it. Here's another one. I think this one's from like 2 or 3 years ago. It's got chia seeds for my overnight chia seeds in there, protein granola, a ton of fruit, and a ton of Greek yogurt. Like that just works well for me. If you like protein pancakes, starting the day off that way, and then moving into the other meals. Now, tip number 3, one of the other things that you may have not known that I've had to learn over the last almost 3 years on my 112-pound weight loss journey is tweaking this. I am responsible for cooking my family dinner and providing the family with food. Figuring that most days, sometimes the count has his own household chores. That's one of my chores that I take over. And so I want to encourage you, stack the deck in your favor. I do all the time Costco hauls, and I love showing you what I purchased for my GLP-1 meals. And so I want to encourage you, if you're the one who's responsible for the meals, stack the deck in your favor. We had recently, my husband's like, oh, let's order some food. And I'm like, let's get Peruvian chicken because it's the best, by the way. It's got the best seasonings. Peruvian chicken is chef's kiss. And we have one that can get delivered via Uber Eats to our house. High protein, low calories. I can get it with a salad. It's really, really good source of protein on there. I'm having literally chicken, like chicken, a whole chicken, like the Peruvian chicken. It's like the skin, the chicken, the whole thing. That for me is a go-to takeout meal. I want to encourage you to have some go-to protein meals so you're consuming enough protein, right? Or if you're having something like pasta. Sometimes my kid's like, Mom, I just want a bowl of spaghetti and meatballs. I'm like, great. Guess what I add? A lot more meatballs in there. Sometimes when I'm feeling really footloose and fancy free, I'll blend up some cottage cheese, just a little bit, and put it in with my Rayo's tomato sauce, mix it together. And then, so it's, instead of being like bright red, it's that orangey color, you know what I'm talking about? And then put that, and then put it in my saucepan, put a little extra herbs and seasoning and spices in there, put it on the stove, chop up some onions so it smells like sauteed onions there, some garlic, and then throw that in my sauce, and then put the meatballs in there too with the pasta, or over a bed of steamed broccoli or steamed green beans or some sort of vegetable. However you choose, the world's your oyster. It's literally, though, for me, learning the key thing is feeling energized. I should have energy. If I'm not crazy energized, some of that is my work. Like I do an energy exchange, literally, of doing videos. It's an energy exchange. People ask me, how do you have so much energy? I frequently go to my bed after I do a YouTube video to reclaim my energy, and then I'll go back out and do stuff. Because that's what I do for a living as a video marketing expert. And so just to give some context on that. So when I feel drained, it's not because I'm not having enough protein. In fact, though, I should have a little bit more than. That's to me telling me sometimes I'm like, I should not be this drained after doing a video. I check myself on my protein, and how I check that is tracking through MyFitnessPal because it's free. It's an easy way just to check in. And I find that works really, really well for me. But it's important work for the cells. They're necessary for our structure, function, and regulation of our body, tissue, and organ by getting enough protein. And so that was from Kara Harbstreet. She has a whole bunch of acronyms after her name, who is a registered dietitian. And so going through some of these dietitian suggestions, which, by the way, having a master's degree, it's different than a nutritionist. A nutritionist, you can get a certificate on the internet. I could become a nutritionist, just to give some context. So like a dietitian, very well educated with that, which is why I love seeing these dietitian articles talking about it. But feeling unsatisfied, feeling hungry, feeling drained, we should feel full. We should feel satisfied. In between meals, we should feel good that we're not crazy, crazy hungry, and feeling confident in our body's ability to bounce back post-workout. My old diet culture self that I've worked really, really, really hard from is that I should always, and I don't like using superlatives, but that's how I used to feel, I should always feel hungry. And that's simply not the case. It was a revelation when I was on the Oprah show. There's me. This was a while back on the Shame, Blame, Weight Loss Revolution a while ago. I look a lot bigger than that. Like, it's crazy to me, by the way, how much weight I've lost since then, but I digress. At that point, I had lost over 50 pounds, which is crazy. 56, I forget how much it was. 50, 60, it was a lot. Anyways, how much I started to be able to be like, I could put my fork down. I feel full. The GLP-1 diet, GLP-1s helped me have that with my diet to change that. And so now it's like phase 2 of that is, how do I work in the medication in addition to having protein so I can live the most energized life possible? Because for me, I need to have energy to do the things I love, which is being a good wife, being a good mom, being a good worker, volunteering in my community. Like, those things matter and need energy. But if I'm not getting enough protein, some people will blame it on Zepbound, and that's not really where the problem is. The problem is, for me, because I can speak from my own experience, I'll use my I statements, was I was tired saying it was all Zepbound, and some of it is, but a lot of it was the diet in which I was choosing to consume. Am I getting enough protein? So how do you know if you're getting enough protein? There in this article, which I'll link down below, is like the number of grams. There's a whole, you can Google it, by the way. Like it's 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, or 0.36 grams per pound. 54 grams of protein per day, say for a 150 pounds person. 72 grams of protein for a 200-pound person. My dietitian told me that we need more as we're in the weight loss journey. And so I take, to give context, I'm almost 6 feet tall, 100, like around 130 is where I'm aiming for. It's a lot, which is why me having that salad and fruit without some sort of protein with it. In addition, the way that my digestion is too, that was not the best possible choice. Adding in, I should have thrown on some lean protein. It's okay though. It's okay though. Like I'll make it up on the back end. Right now, for example, at Costco, they have these lean chicken sausage patties. Oh, they're so good. I'm going to have one with a little egg, a little jammy egg later on. Not 2 English muffins, but just one. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But like stuff like that, I'm excited for. It's going to be breakfast for dinner. Pumped. Pumped. And those chicken sausages are lean in calories, but very high in protein. It's like Amy Lou is the brand. I've really leaned into those quite a bit. I actually very much like them. I don't really like chicken, but Peruvian chicken I like. And also things like these chicken sausages, because it's a leaner, less calories, but higher protein. So all of that to say, I hope this has helped you figure out what will work best for you. It's trial and error, 100% has been for me. I've had to really, really do trial and error of going through, like this article says, like 72 grams of protein for a 200-pound person. When I weighed 200 pounds, 72 grams of protein was not enough for me, particularly with lifting or working. If you're working out or lifting in subcapacity, it's not enough. But you got to test for yourself. If you're going back to feeling that drained and feeling hungry in between meals, that's like the woo woo. Our bodies tells us. It gives us signals if we're willing to listen. Sometimes I'm not willing to listen. You ever feel that way, where you're like, I am not going to listen to the signals my body's giving me? And then I'm like, why am I so tired? Because my body's giving me signals. So I hope this helps. It definitely helps me as I go through this journey. Definitely helps me. So our emoji of the day today, sweet friends, I was going to make it a little chicken drumstick, but I know we have some vegetarians in the audience, so I want to be respectful of them. We're going to make our emoji of the day today is going to be a little ghost, because it's almost near Halloween and I'm loving my tumbler, my 40-ounce water tumbler. A little ghost is going to be our emoji of the day. I do emojis of the day to get to know you better because I care. It's the pattern recognition of seeing your name over and over and over again. Besties, I love it when you guys comment on the videos. It's also my bat signal to pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, uplift you in positive thought with our little emoji of the day, which is a ghost today. So, and if you don't believe in prayer, all are welcome here. I will uplift you in positive thought. My sweet friends, make sure you check out the links down below and join in the free encouragement group. Go check in today. Go give a little check-in. Say, I'm checking in. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.